on how spring practice is going before some of the players hop on after you're done.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. As you know, last Wednesday we had our pro day. I was really happy with how smooth the operation went. The scouts really appreciated the efficiency and the organization of it. I was really happy to see some old friends, and our guys perform well. I'm looking forward to having more prospects in the future pro days. It was a good day for the Spartans. Practice is going well. I'm just really excited about how we're approaching the meetings and the practice. The coaching is outstanding. I go from meeting room to meeting room prior to practice, and everyone's on the same page. We're really focusing on technique and fundamentals. It's the aggregation of marginal gains. If we can just get a little bit better at the critical factors that are important to each player to execute their job at their position. The technique and fundamentals. We have to do simple better. Hand placement, footwork, pad level, upper body violence and effort to the ball. Things like that. Eye discipline. That's really where our main focus is. And so it's just one step at a time, gaining ground. But I'm really pleased with what I see so far. We've got a long way to go. We have a lot of work to do, but we're trusting the process. We're trusting the process, and we're getting better. So it was a good day today. We finished this morning. We completed practice number 4, our second practice in pads. It was physical. We'll rest up and get ready to go again Thursday. We'll scrimmage on Saturday, have our first scrimmage, and we'll get a chance to go live to the ground. So, but I'll open up for questions. Anything you all want to know, I'll do my best.
Sounds good. Thanks, Coach. We'll start with them live.
Hey, Mel, just to be clear, Saturday will be your first scrimmage, right?
That'll be the first one, yes. First scrimmage.
So you touched on the first 4 practices. I guess, is there any area where you guys are ahead of where you thought you might be at this point, and maybe somewhere where you feel like you need to spend a little more time focusing?
I'll tell you what, our special teams work has been very good. The technique and fundamentals, working on punt, just the entire operation and the efficiency of the drills, the understanding of what we need to get done, how we need to do it. We're improved in that area. We're moving in the right direction. We still need to learn how to practice. We have too many guys on the ground. We talk about it. We talk about it all the time. And when we're not scrimmaging, no one should be on the ground. And that's how guys get hurt. You can't make plays when you're on the ground. It's just a bad look for us. We had less guys on the ground today, but just the practice etiquette, how we work, practice like a pro, stay up, get your work in, focus on technique and fundamentals, have a good base, play with good pad level, have great balance and body control, have contact balance, stay on your feet and play through the whistle. And we really need to get better in terms of staying off the ground. That's one thing I can't stand that.
And as far as, I guess, when you look at bringing in a grad transfer at QB, where you were last year at, the 4 days of fall camp or whatever you had as far as splitting reps, I guess, where are you at with that? And when you have 5 scholarship guys on the roster and obviously, like you said last week, an open competition.
Yeah, it's great competition. The guys are pushing each other to get better. It's a good room. The guys are working hard. Coach Johnson does a heck of a job with those quarterbacks, and I'm just looking forward to how we end up. What can we become at that position? Competition is good.
Thanks, Mel.
Yep, you're welcome. Thanks, Matt.
Our next question will go to Lindsey Huddleston.
Hey, Mel, looking back over your pro experience, I look at those helmets in the back. I bet if someone would have said portal to you, you would have had no idea what they were talking about. Now, have you started to develop any portal principles about how these guys are coming in, what you have to be thinking of, what you have to be mindful of? Because it just seems to be an ongoing topic, maybe in our world, not necessarily yours, but it just seems to be something that's a lot is going on with it.
Yeah, the portal's here to stay, and we embrace it. It's part of our process of acquiring players, everyone's in the portal for different reasons, and so you have to do your homework. We have to make sure that the guys that we decide that we want are a great fit for our culture. They fill needs on the field, but obviously they need to fit in off the field as well. Academically, socially, we're looking for good teammates, guys that are unselfish, and guys that love football. But the portal is, it means different things to different people. And what the portal does for us is that when we evaluate players out of high school, either they're what we want for our program or they're not. And we don't need to reach for guys. If we're not convicted on a player coming out of high school, then we won't take them. And so that makes sure that we feel great about the guys that we're recruiting from the high school ranks. We want to build our team through the high school ranks, but we will supplement our roster and complement our roster with guys from the portal, whether they're grad transfers or they're undergrad transfers. But we have to make sure that we're not just collecting players, but we're building a team, and that's where the fit comes in. And so, we don't have to reach. We know that there'll be players in the portal, and we'll use the portal to complement our high school guys, and we'll build our team that way.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Lindsay.
Next question will go to Stephen Brooks with 24/7 Sports.
Hey, Mel, hope you're doing well. I remember last time you said, well, you've said it a couple of times, you want your QB to be the #1 competitor on the team. Curious how you've seen Anthony Russo in that regard. I know he's been involved in quite a few QB competitions, whether it was at Temple or even back to high school. So just curious about his competitiveness, what you've noticed from him there.
Oh, he competes, and they all compete. Like I said, it's a good room. They work well together. They take coaching. I can tell that he's becoming more comfortable with our scheme and more comfortable with our coaching and just being in our program. And so as that happens, he's going to play faster. He's going to play with more confidence. But from a competition standpoint, there's no question about that. He competes.
I also wanted to ask you about Kenneth Walker, if I could. Obviously, you see his highlights on film. You get him through the portal. Now that you've had him for a couple of days in pads, is he basically the guy that you thought you were getting, and just sort of your early reviews of him?
Yeah, he's the same guy that we saw on tape, and he gives great effort. He's strong. He's got great quickness. He has balance and body control. He can change direction. He can run through the smoke. He's got good hands. He's a tireless worker. I haven't seen him loaf one time in a drill or in group work and teamwork. Every rep he takes, he makes the most of it. I'm glad we have him.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Our next question is from Rainer Saban with the Detroit Free Press.
Hey Mel, when you are looking at the running game and did the self scouting of the running game last year, what were the issues that you saw, and where do you think you can stand to make the greatest improvement?
Well, it starts up front with the offensive line. We need to get stronger, have to become more physical. Our technique has to improve. Just our understanding of what is the job that I have to do. How do I do it, and why is it important to get it done a certain way? And that's critical. Our tight ends are a big part of our run game, and so we need to get stronger there at the point of attack with those guys. Understand? No block, no rock. You got to get your hands inside, get a flat back and some hat speed, and get in the guys and move guys. And then the runners have to hit the hole, understand where the power of the play is, and get there and run with authority and run with power, keeping the ball high and tight, and get yards after contact. And when you have good backs, the play doesn't have to be blocked perfectly every time. Guys can make guys miss and make something happen, make the O-line better. So it's just a collective. It's a collective effort. And like I talked to the receivers today, again, you don't no block, no rock. Your receiver, the toughness of your team, you can tell the toughness of your team by how your receivers block and how your corners tackle. So just we all need to get better. The run game was not nearly good enough. We all know that. I think putrid might have been a word that could be used, and so it is what it is. We need to get better. We can't run the ball on our terms we can't be good teams. We just can't do it. We need to be able to run the ball when we want to run it, and when we want to run it. And that, I mean, that's going to take everyone. And so we have a sense of urgency in our run game. I expect our run game to be much better this season, but you know, it's one day at a time right now in spring ball. We're getting there. We're getting better.
Nick Saban recently said, and he said it a couple times, that basically the game's changed to the point that you basically have to outscore the other team. How much has your philosophy changed in that regard with the way you look at offense and also even defense, and how it all kind of works together in this age of college football?
You know, defensively, if they can't score, then they can't win. And so you want to hold teams to low numbers. And offensively, you know, you need to possess the ball and control the field position and score points. And that's the bottom line. I mean, the game really hasn't really changed, you know, that much in that regard. On defense, you need to stop people and get the ball back. When you get the ball on offense, you need to advance the ball, you know, possess the ball and score touchdowns and protect the ball. You know, ball security is huge for us. And so we have to play complementary football, offense, defense, and special teams working together. And that's how we get it done.
Thanks.
Next question is from Matt Wenzel with MLive.
And with the 4 early enrollees you had in the 2021 recruiting class, I was wondering where those guys are at between Hampton, Cameron, and Ethan and Michael as far as fitting in with the position groups.
Yeah, the players that came early have bought into our culture, understand what the standard is, you know, what the expectations are, and have really fit in. I've been really impressed with how our players have accepted our newcomers, even though guys are coming in and there's more competition at these positions. We still have really good chemistry. Guys are helping each other out. Everyone's understanding that it's going to take every guy to be at his best. We need as much help as we can get. Practices are going to be more competitive, and the more competitive your practices are, the better you're going to play in the game. And so, you know, I like what I see so far from those young guys.
Is there anybody you expect to miss the spring, or you're going to hold out as just a precaution to get healthier?
The guys that are available to practice, then we're going to practice. We're not holding anyone because of to keep them healthy. You stay healthy, you know, by training properly and you know, having the proper rest and recovery, the proper nutrition, and staying off the ground and playing with great technique and fundamentals. You can't get better if you don't practice.
Thanks, Mel.
You're welcome.
Our next question is from Audrey Dahlgren with WLNS.
Unmute myself. Hi, Mel. How are you today?
I'm great.
I was just curious, what position group is maybe ahead of everyone else right now at this point? What position group is most behind? And what position group do you really want to see excel in this week?
It's really too early to say. I'll know a lot more after our first scrimmage. You know, none of the groups are where we need them to be right now. I mean, I still need to watch the film from today. I saw some good things from pretty much both sides of the ball at every position, but I saw some things that were not very good, and we need to get cleaned up. But as we practice more and as we get more live reps, guys, you know, get more comfortable with our scheme. You know, then things will start to shake out. Players will start to separate themselves, and the identity of this football team will start to reveal itself. But right now, the work ethic is at every position has been good. We're always looking to raise the bar there, and the focus has been good. But we weren't good enough at any position a year ago. So I mean, there's a tremendous amount of improvement that we need to make between now and kickoff next season.
I'll make sure everyone has time for questions. So we'll go to Paul from Spartan Magazine. Paul?
sorry. Hey, can you hear me?
Yep, we got you.
Okay, Mel, I wanted to ask you about the cohesion between linebacker and D line. It seems like at times when they were adjusting to that new scheme last year, there were some kind of hiccups with gap fits and whatnot. Can you talk about in year two what you're seeing from those guys working together, the linebackers and D line?
Yeah, in terms of the run game, it's all about run fits. Do your job first, and then you can help out somewhere else after that. I mean, everyone has to know their job. We have every defense that we run is gap sound. We don't have junk defenses. We don't have cheat defenses. Everyone's got a gap, and has to do their job and play their gap. If someone runs through your gap, then that's a problem. And so it's really just knowing what to do and knowing where your help is, know where you fit within the scheme, and trusting that if I do my job, the man next to me is going to do his job. And so that's how the front, the line, the D line and the linebackers, that's how they fit. And it's also with the secondary is a big part of run support. I mean, and in the secondary, you're going to have primary run force guys and secondary run force guys, whether they're corners, nickels, or safeties. And everyone's got to know where to fit in the defense and play hard and do their job. When you see if you see a explosive run, it's usually because someone was out of their gap. It was a missed tackle, or it was a lost leverage, or a mental error. It was one of those factors.
And as a quick follow up, any of the linebackers stepping up, any guys that are making some plays or taking the steps that you need to get that position right?
I haven't seen anyone stick out yet. I really haven't. I mean, we've got guys that are working hard, but I haven't seen anyone at that position that's been lights out. Just really jumped off the tape to me. So we just need to continue to get better, and like I said, as we continue to practice and as we get some scrimmages in, then hopefully guys will start to separate themselves.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
Next question, we'll go back to Matt Wenzel with M Live, and we'll wrap it up with Stephen Brooks with 24/7 Sports.
Now, obviously, you guys had a plan last year before it got thrown away, basically, with spring practice being wiped out. I was wondering if you can kind of look back and maybe where you thought you may have been 4 practices in a year ago versus where you are now, as far as what you're able to install, and kind of what the guys who were part of this last year have been able to maybe help you pick it up a little bit, maybe.
Well, we're in much better condition right now, as opposed to when we were 4 practices in last season. I think there's better understanding of what we're supposed to do in terms of our assignments, and then our culture in terms of how we practice and how we compete. How we train, how we meet. It's better. It's being cemented right now, but we're light years ahead of where we were, last season. In terms of the preseason preparation, it's really not even close. But with that being said, we've got a long way to go. We need every practice we can get with these guys. But it is good to be able to have spring ball. Which we didn't have. It's good to have all out of season conditioning program, 8 weeks leading up into spring ball, so we can be in shape, so we can compete.
Thanks, Mel.
Thank you.
So we have a couple more questions. We'll go to Colton Pouncey from The Athletic. Make sure everybody gets one. Colton.
Hey, Mel. Hope you're doing well. Just quick question, based on your experience in past springs, I guess, at what point do guys begin to separate themselves and stick out? And when do you guys as coaches feel comfortable enough to kind of make those evaluations and draw conclusions from what you're seeing in the spring?
Yeah, as you start to scrimmage, we'll have a couple 3 scrimmages during the spring. Guys will start to stick out. Coming out of the spring game, practice 15, the identity of your team starts to really reveal itself. And then you go into your summer program where you're running and you're lifting, you're still meeting and installing some things, just going back over the basics of every position. And then when you go to fall camp after that second scrimmage, that's when you know for the most part, here are the guys that are going to be able to help us. And here are the guys that need to go to the scout team and continue to develop. So it's a process that goes all the way into fall camp, into that second scrimmage for the most part.
And then I noticed you guys are kind of doing like this hard knocks type of behind the scenes look this spring. I guess what went into that process, and what are you kind of hoping to show as those clips come out?
I just thought it would be a good idea to give our fans and our recruits a look behind the curtain a little bit in terms of how we operate, our process, our staff, our energy, our effort, just how we go about our business, our culture. I think access is important, especially with the current situation where we haven't been able to have recruits on campus, at all, so since COVID started, and we haven't been able to leave campus. And so, we have to engage, we have to give more access, and we don't have anything to hide. We are who we are, and we'll just work hard to build our program. But I think it's I think it's good for everyone to get a look at us a little bit in a little bit different context and see what's going on behind the scenes.
Our last question will go back to Stephen Brooks with 24/7 Sports.
Thanks, Ben. Mel, I'm just curious if you guys have a format for the scrimmage sort of figured out in terms of how long you want to go. Will it be in the stadium? How many snaps do you want the ones, the twos, the threes, however that looks at that point to get? And really just what do you consider a success? What do you really want to get out of it?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to see guys compete in a game like situation and see how they carry things over from the meeting room to our practices into a scrimmage. Sometimes when the lights come on, you start to scrimmage, guys' technique and fundamentals just go out the window. So that's discipline, that's trusting your training, and it's just really one step in the process. Before we scrimmage, we'll look at the injury report. We'll see how many guys we have, and that will determine how many reps each group gets and things like that. But we'll work on some first, second down things. We'll do some third down. We'll do some 2-minute. We may get into some red zone. We'll do some situational work. We'll move the field. It'll be a good day's work for us.
Do you plan to do that at the stadium or just in your own facility?
I would like to get into the stadium if we can. Again, as much of a game-like situation as you can get, the better.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, Coach, that's all the questions we have for you today.
All right.
Appreciate your time.
Yeah, appreciate your time. Thanks again. We'll see you soon. Go Green.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mel.
Thank you.
All right, we will have Drew Jordan first, and then I think we'll have Kenneth Walker after that, and then Jacob Panashuk. So it'll be at least 5 minutes. Drew will be on shortly. Thank you. All right, like I said, we'll have Drew Jordan here about 1:30. We'll get him on, and Kenneth Walker will be around 1:45. It's kind of the time frame we're looking at right now. All right. Thank you for joining us today. Want to introduce everyone on the call to Drew Jordan, defensive end, who transferred from Duke and has joined the team in January and is now working hard out in spring practice and getting going with 4 spring practices so far. So I want to introduce you to Drew. Wish we could do this in person, but hopefully we'll get to do that soon, Drew. So we'll take some questions in the chat for a few minutes. And we'll kind of go from there. Well, we'll start with Matt Wenzel with MLF.
Oops, sorry, hit the button too many times. Hey, Drew, good to see you. I was wondering if you can kind of walk us through the process of making the decision to enter the portal and taking advantage of the extra year and ending up at Michigan State.
Yeah, you know, a big reason that I thought, you know, joining Michigan State was just how the coaching staff was. They were very honest with me. And then the biggest reason was they would set me apart from other defensive ends. And, you know, in this next draft class, were that, you know, they're really giving me an opportunity to come in here, play, work under a lot of guys that have a lot of NFL pedigree, as well as, you know, they really made my family feel comfortable. They really included my family a lot in the recruiting process. You know, it was a huge decision on me leaving Duke just because I had a lot established there. But I took that leap of faith, knowing that, you know, Michigan State would set me apart for the next level and my goals when it came to getting my body in the right place, mentally, and then also, you know, physically, where I'll be able to excel at any point in time.
And I guess who was kind of the main coaches that you talked to or personnel at Michigan State? And do you have any ties in the roster? I think I saw Connor Hayward mention you guys played youth football together or something. But I mean, did you have any connections beyond that? And kind of who were your key contacts?
Yeah, it was when I first started getting recruited again by Michigan State. You know, I had actually had a visit up here when I was in high school. So obviously I knew, you know, coming in what the landscape looked like, you know, how the locker room was set up. That was huge, you know, being already familiar with this program. Coach Hayes was a huge part in my recruitment. I really spoke with everybody for the most part. I know Connor, of course, you know, played Little League ball together, grew up together. I've known him for a very long time now. And then also, you know, knowing Coach Burton, you know, from the staff in the past was also very important. You know, just having that familiar face and knowing that I'd be okay coming up here. Thank you.
Our next question is from Lindsay Huddleston.
Hey, Drew, welcome. And just trying to get to know you. If your best friend was here, what will they say about you? How will they describe you to us to let us know the kind of guy you are?
If my best friend was here, you know, I'm a really fun going guy, but when it's time to work, it's time to work. I'm gonna do everything in my power to have this team be successful. You know, a trustworthy guy, somebody that's gonna have your back, you know, no matter what. You know, every day I'm gonna come in and push you to be your best, because if I'm not pushing you to be your best, I'm not doing my job. You know, my best friend will always know that, you know, I'm always going to have his back, and I'm going to do everything in my power to put us in the best position to be successful.
Really good. As a quick follow-up too, as you join a new team, what are you learning now as some ways to kind of best introduce yourself to the team, best connect with the team, that people could get to know you and know what kind of guy you are and know what kind of teammate you'll be?
Yeah, the biggest thing that I've noticed thus far is showing the guys, you know, who I am, you know, putting in the work. Because my actions, you know, I can't just come in and just start speaking everything into existence. I have to show them and lead that way. And then once I get that foot in the door with that leadership of, oh wow, this guy's actually, you know, really serious about this, and it's important to him, then I start being more of a vocal leader. But it starts off with laying that foundation of I'm coming in to work.
Got it. Thank you and good luck.
Thank you.
Our next question is from Stephen Brooks with 24/7 Sports.
Hey, Drew, thanks for taking the time here. Good to sort of meet you like this. I'm just curious, you know, first, say that somebody's never seen you play before and they're a Michigan State fan, how would you describe what you bring, and how do you see yourself fitting into this defense, and how were you sort of pitched on coming here, and saying, you know, how are the coaches saying we could use you? Just how do you see yourself fitting into all this, and what type of player are you?
Yeah, when I was making the decision to come here, you know, the biggest part was they needed a little bit more physicality, and that's what they're going to get from a guy like me. Not only just a guy that can stop the run and bloody your nose in the run, but also somebody that's going to attack you off the edge. You know, speed, strength, tenacity, all those different things. I'm the complete package. I'm not just going to speed rush, but I'm also going to bull you. I'm going to do a lot of different things to keep you off balance, to confuse the guy. And then, you know, when that opportunity presents itself, I'm going to take it.
Okay. And I want to ask you something sort of along the lines that Lindsay was just talking to you about. I mean, when you're an older guy and you come here, like you mentioned at the top, with goals to get to the next level, but you come to a place where the coaches are still very new and just in their second year, and Coach Tucker's talked a lot about still setting the culture here in this spring, you know, even though last year was very weird. What's that like as a guy in your position, and that balance of like, I am kind of here for my goals, but, you know, while I'm here, I kind of want to do my part to help this thing get on track. You know, am I making any sense there? I mean, what's that sort of process and dynamic like for you?
Yeah, you know, the biggest thing, you know, me coming in here is, you know, obviously the culture is still setting in, but it's also, you know, helping out and being a leader. You know, if the team's not successful, I'm not successful. You know, personal accolades and goals aside, I want to win football games, and you know, that's our goal here is to win football games, make it to Big Ten championships, you know, make it to the college football playoff. You know, that's going to be the goal. And you know, personal accolades isn't going to mean anything if the team's not winning. So you know, my goal is to put the team in the best position to win, and that's making everybody better around me.
And just last thing, if I could, just how was this winter for you after growing up in Georgia and going to college in North Carolina? What was January through you know, February like?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. It was brutal at first, just because I've never seen this much snow before, and my parents were telling me, because they're from St. Louis, they're like, "Son, you're gonna have to get some big boots. You know, you're gonna have to wear a lot of layers." Things like that. I got used to it. I found myself when it hit 50s, you know, saying it was warm outside. So it was bad at first, but it got better.
This was an easy one, man. You got lucky.
Yeah.
Thanks, Drew. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Our next question will go to Colton Pouncey with The Athletic.
Yeah, I was gonna say the good news is it's getting warmer outside, so you're looking good now. But so I guess my question is like, what was life like in the portal? Because in a lot of cases, it's a tough decision to leave a school that you've made friends at and develop relationships. So I guess I'm sure you had a lot of programs reach out to you when you first put your name in. So what was that process like, and how do you feel like you're fitting in here at Michigan State?
Yeah, I thought, making that decision of putting my name into the portal, it was very nerve-wracking, just because you didn't really know what to expect, especially as a guy, my age that has aspirations of making it to the next level. But I think my film spoke for itself. I had a lot of plays down. I had a lot of really good plays that I made. I had a lot of experience playing, so it was actually relatively easy for me personally, just because a lot of teams saw that value in who I was. I don't know what my snap count was, but I know it was very high. I know my stats were very, very good. So a lot of teams did reach out to me. So that kind of made it a little bit easier on my process for the portal. It's probably a little bit different from other guys just because they didn't have the film that I had and the reps and even the experience of playing.
We have time for a couple more. We'll go back to Matt Wenzel with M Live.
Hey, Drew, kind of wondering what your impression from afar, being Power 5 conference player, but what your impression of the Big Ten has been, and having been a guy, I think you played at Northwestern a couple of years back, 3 years back or so,
Yeah.
And that is where you guys are scheduled to start the year this season. So just kind of your impression overall of the Big Ten and all that.
Yeah, football is football to me. But when looking at the Big Ten, I definitely do see it's a more physical level of play. You really have to lock in on your keys a lot of times. But in the end, football is football. It's all going to be very fast, very physical. Practices right now, even in the Big Ten, are very physical, very hard. So not too much of a difference, but there are a couple different variation of plays that I haven't seen before. So that's just the only difference between ACC and Big Ten or wherever you may want to make that comparison from.
Thanks, Drew.
Thank you.
Our last question will go back to Stephen Brooks with 24/7 Sports.
Thanks, man. Drew, I just got two sort of small things for you. When you were in the portal, did you talk to Connor at all? Because he's a guy who had gone through that and obviously returned to Michigan State. Just did you talk to him at all during that time for any kind of advice or anything at all about that?
Yeah, me and Connor spoke briefly about what he had done, but also we thought it would be very exciting to come back together and be teammates once again. So right when I actually got in the portal, he hit me up and was like, "Hey man, you may want to look at us here." And that was very important just because he took value in who I was, and then also having that connection between when we played together and now the opportunity of playing together once again. So that was the biggest thing, was just being able to rekindle what we had in the past and play together once again.
I also want to ask you about Kenneth Walker. Obviously, you both come from the ACC. Have you ever tackled him in a game before? Did you have any impressions of him at Wake Forest, and now to be teammates? What's that like?
Yeah, Kenny is a great player, very fast, very physical. He'll beat you a lot of different ways. I actually did play against him. I don't remember if I tackled him or not, just because they had another back at the time as well. But that offense that he was playing in, he was definitely able to excel there. And just looking at the player that he is right now, he has a lot of tools to be very successful.
Got it. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
All right, Drew, that looks like all the questions we have. So really appreciate your time and welcome to Michigan State, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
All right, next up, we'll be joined by running back Kenneth Walker. Right. At this time, we're joined by running back Kenneth Walker. As you all know, he joined the program from Wake Forest in January. Wanted you to have a chance to ask some questions, get to know him a little bit. An introduction of sorts. Unfortunately, we have to do it virtually, but hopefully you'll get to meet him in person soon. So we'll take questions in the chat for a few minutes here, and we'll get started soon. And we'll start with Matt Wenzel with MLive.
Hey, Kenneth, just wondering if you could walk us through the decision when you decided to transfer from Wake Forest. What brought you to Michigan State?
So as I was in the portal, I got a chance to talk to Coach P and Coach Tuck a lot. And they showed me everything, like sent me pictures of the campus. We couldn't join campus and everything with COVID, but I got to see the campus and everything. I really liked, they showed me the offense. I feel like I was a good fit in the offense, and being able to get that bond with them, it was pretty good. And that was my big decision.
What was kind of your impression from afar from Michigan State? I know you played against them in New York a few years back, but just kind of your impression of the program. Granted, the coaching staff is almost completely different than it was when you saw them on the field as an opponent.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. The impression, like when I got here, or
just kind of your impression of the program from afar. I mean, you played against them once, but the coaching staff changed since then.
Right. Oh yeah. So before I arrived, I didn't know much about Michigan State at the time, but like as I got to campus, I love it. I love everything about it. The culture. I think that's a big thing here. It's a great culture, and that's probably my biggest interest. I love that.
Thank you.
No problem.
Our next question will go to Stephen Brooks with 24/7 Sports.
Hey, Kenneth, nice to meet you here. Appreciate you taking the time. I just wanted to ask you, for people that have never seen you play, what type of back are you? What are Michigan State fans going to see this fall when they see you play? And just how do you see yourself fitting in with the running backs that are already here, and what that rotation could look like possibly,
Right. So for the last question, the running backs, I think it's great. All of us, Connor, Jordan, Donovan, Eli, I think we got a pretty good set of backs. I mean, we compete at practice, but we also push each other to do our best, I make a mistake, they critique me, and vice versa, to make sure we get better. As far as me personally, I believe I'm an explosive back. I think my best thing is explosiveness, being able to go in and out of my cuts, and my vision.
And then I know you talked a little bit about finding Michigan State once you went in the portal. What about going into the portal? I mean, why did you just think you wanted to change from Wake Forest?
I felt like I didn't fit as well in the offense. That was pretty much a big part of my decision. The offense, I felt like I wasn't a big fit there. So
what type of things did you see in Michigan State's then that you liked?
It's more like a pro style, even now we are able to watch film on like the league, and like everything we do now, I can see like watch film on the league, and like they're doing exactly the same. So that's pretty interesting to me.
Okay. Thank you, man.
No problem.
Our next question will go to Rainer Saban with the Detroit Free Press.
Hi, how's it going? The running game obviously struggled quite a bit last year for Michigan State. When the coaching staff is recruiting you, did they sell you on the fact that you could be possibly a difference maker?
Yes, sir. Yeah. They believe that can make an impact on the team, and that was pretty much a big deal.
Can you elaborate on that? Like, what aspects were they kind of most intrigued about you that they thought that you could bring to the table for Michigan State?
Pretty much how I explained earlier about me personally. My explosiveness, vision, talk about my skill set, being able to catch out the backfield. I know we didn't do that much at Wake, but yeah.
Thanks.
No problem.
Our next question will go to Audrey Dahlgren with WLNS.
Hi, Kenneth. Welcome to East Lansing. We're not new, but welcome to East Lansing.
Right.
Going back off of the vision aspect, I could see maybe Mel Tucker or some of the coaches, maybe their like eyes lighting up or their ears liking you, like saying that vision and explosiveness. So can you let us in on some of those conversations of maybe what they had to say about that you as a running back when you described that to them? Or
I'm sorry, what'd you say? What was the last part?
can you describe, I guess, in terms of just your vision and explosiveness, how maybe Tucker and the rest of the staff perceive that if you described yourself as that way to them? You know, because I could see Mel, you know, kind of maybe liking that you have a vision, because he's a pretty visionary guy.
Right. As in, they would show me some film. You know, we go over film and we'll see like holes, like I guess that was missed in the game or whatever like that, and like they felt like I could like make plays, like I could do something different than other backs.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
We have time for a couple more. We'll go back to Matt Wenzel with M Live.
Hey, Kenneth, I was wondering, were you able to, I know obviously the recruiting dead period, but were you able to get a look at campus, or did you see Michigan State for the first time when you arrived in January to enroll?
It was actually my first time when I arrived. You know, COVID kind of messed everything up with being able to come on campus and do visits. But yeah, it was my first time. It was pretty different with all the snow and stuff. I'm not really used to it, but yeah.
What's it like making, you know, a life-changing decision without being able, you know, you're going to go move somewhere for multiple years likely. What's it like doing that without even being able to visit, and you just show up in the middle of winter?
I felt pretty confident. You know, that's how they made me feel real confident when I talked to him on the phone and everything. You know, I got to see little bits and pieces, but like I felt pretty comfortable being able to make that decision without even coming to campus physically, being able to see it.
You talked about your explosiveness. I think it was 13 touchdowns you had last season.
Yes, sir, 13.
17 the last 2 years. But for Michigan State, you know, they had 0 touchdowns from their running backs last year. Now, how much do you think you bring something to the table that they were lacking, kind of in that sense, the ability to get to the end zone?
What was the last part? I'm sorry.
How much do you think you bring something to the table and the ability to get to the end zone, which wasn't the case for them last?
Oh, I think I bring pretty quite a bit. I think I bring a lot. Yeah, I think I bring a lot.
Thanks, Ken.
No problem.
Our final question will go to Stephen Brooks, 24/7 Sports.
Hey, Kenneth, I wanted to ask you, your goals for this season, your goals for coming here to Michigan State.
Well, me personally, I want to be able to make an impact and contribute to the team, you know. Being able to get to know the guys, you know, we've created a bond. I know we've been working hard on the off season. A big goal of mine and pretty much everybody else on the team, we want to get a conference championship and go all the way. Make it to the playoffs.
And then I asked Drew this too, because I'm curious about you guys as transfers. Coach Tucker has talked a lot about still setting his culture, obviously only in year 2, and the first year was disrupted by quite a few things, you know. As a guy who's older coming into that program where he's trying to change things, as a guy who's been a part of another culture, I mean, just how do you sort of view your role of helping him get what he wants on the ground here when it's all still very new, if that makes sense?
Right. A big thing, I believe, just being accountable. You know, that's a big word we use here, being accountable, you know, being able to be trustworthy, you know, being able to trust each other as a team and be able to have the coaches trust me with everything. That's on and off the field, you know, be able to do the right thing. But yeah, that's probably it.
All right. Thank you, man.
No problem. Thank you.
All right, that's all the questions we have. Kenneth, we really appreciate your time. Looking forward to seeing you on the field soon, and have a good rest of spring practice.
All right. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right, next up, we'll have Jacob Panashuk at around 2 o'clock. I'll see if you can join a couple minutes early, but we'll get him on soon. Thank you. All right, right at 2 o'clock. Perfect timing, perfect timing. Well, we met some new Spartans today with Drew Jordan and Kenneth Walker, but we're joined today by a fifth-year senior defensive end, Jacob Panashuk, obviously who has been around the program for quite some time. We'll have some questions for you here in just a minute as we get going here in the chat. We'll have about 10 minutes today for Jacob. We'll get started with Matt Wenzel from MLive. Matt.
Hey, Jacob, just wondering if you can run over the decision that you made to come back for the extra season of eligibility.
It was a hard decision. I talked to the coaches and my family back home about it, and we just decided that it was in my best interest to just try and figure out a way to do what I could in my understanding and their understanding to try and just go over all the details. COVID was just, nobody knew anything about it. And ultimately it was a hard decision, but we thought that it'd be best for me to just redshirt and take every precaution and just sit out the year.
I meant to come back and get the extra year this fall in 2021. Like, I guess, what do you expect, or what do you hope to achieve, and what are you, I guess, the reason for playing an extra year in college?
Last year didn't go as I expected. I thought I was gonna have a big year. I came into camp at around like 250 pounds. I was in the best shape I've been in a while. And then I got COVID, lost a bunch of weight, and then dropped down to, I think I hit like 225. And I just played throughout the season, just got through it, and decided that it'd be best for me to come back. I didn't think I performed the way that I should have. And I thought it was unfair to me and my teammates if I just got up and left when I could use another year and come back and help out the team.
Could you kind of run through the timeline of when you got it and when you were able to kind of the effects and bouncing and trying to recover from that?
Yeah. So when I came back after deciding to come back and play, I got it, went through all the protocols and everything. And when I came back and I weighed in, I was just light. I was like 225, like I said. And the coaches and the strength staff just took me through a program to try and get me back into things. Started gaining a little bit of weight, but really struggled. Couldn't put on much weight. Battled through some injuries just because I was just playing really light at defensive end. The Big Ten didn't really work out that good. So yeah, I just followed everything that they told me to, did all the procedures, got all my tests done, and just continued my season after coming back from being quarantined.
Thanks, Jake.
Our next question is from Rico Cooney.
Jacob, a couple of platefuls of pierogies, you put that weight right back on.
That is true.
Hey, talk to me about being the old man of this group now, and you saw your brother go through it. What did you learn from that, and so what do you expect to bring to the table now, being kind of one of the old man rivers of the defensive line group?
I just try and follow the steps of the players that were here, that when they were older, when the older players would always just take like the younger players under their wing. So like example, when Dylan Alexander was here, when Kenny was here also, they took me under their wing and just showed me the ropes, showed me how to study a playbook, how to watch film, taught me all the little things that like you wouldn't think that would be such a big deal in college football. They obviously are. And like Mike and Ray, they would always look out for the younger kids. So I feel like that's what I'm trying to pride myself on and strive for, is trying to help out the younger kids develop and just overall become better football players.
Yeah, a quick follow. So talk about where you are as far as your physical, I guess, rebirth of sorts. Where are you at? I mean, are there still, more things you kind of want to do to get yourself in shape, or you feel you're at your playing weight and strength and where you want to be?
I think I could put on a little bit more weight, like 5 or 10 pounds, but I've gained 15 to 20 pounds since the season started. And I feel good right now. I still think that, especially with the new strength staff, the lifting and everything that we do is just it's a lot different than what we had before. And I think that with their help and Amber, our new nutritionist, I think that I could put on a few more pounds, and I think everybody can always get into better shape. So that's always, yeah.
So where are you at now as far as weight?
245 from on Monday.
So you want to be closer to 260 then?
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks a lot, man. Have a good day.
You too.
Our next question is from Stephen Brooks with 24/7 Sports.
Hey, Jacob, appreciate you doing this, man. As a guy who's been around, for now 5 years, I've been around college football for a while. Having this true spring and hopefully a normal schedule all the way through the last game, what do you think that can do for you guys, or maybe even just younger guys as a defense in terms of learning things, maybe going deeper than time allowed last year? I mean, what do you see as the benefit that you guys maybe missed out on last year while you were switching over schemes and everything with now having this full spring?
I think a couple things are. One thing that's really big is relationships. A lot of the older guys didn't get to spend time with the younger guys or like the new guys coming in. So I think we're going to benefit a lot from that. Also practicing, we didn't get any spring ball last year. We were going through plays and stuff. Like I was downstairs in my basement doing walkthrough during what we should have had spring ball on my couch, just doing like one-on-one working footwork and stuff. So I think practice is going to be a big benefit for our team this year.
I also wanted to ask you about Drew Jordan, as sort of the new guy with you guys. Fair to say he's a different player from you, and just from style wise, and just what do you see from him? How would you describe him? What's he going to bring to that group?
He's a really cool dude. Drew's a bigger DN. He weighs, I'm not sure how much he weighs, but he's a bigger guy, a lot stronger than me too. But I think he's going to play a really good role in our defense, and he knows how to pass rush too as a big guy on the outside. So that's going to be a big advantage for us. And overall, just a good guy who's going to help out the team a lot.
And also, just to clarify from earlier, I meant to ask you this off the top. When you talk about when you had your COVID break, was that all you were out and in before the season, or did that occur after during the once games were being played? Could you sort of clarify that part, scheduling wise, kind of?
It was about I think a month before the season started. So we're going into right before camp, I believe.
And then you were back before game one?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you, man.
No problem.
Our next question will go to Matt Wenzel with them live.
Jacob, you talked about the last season not going how you expected. I think overall as a team, the pass rush, the number of sacks are down. I guess, how do you view that, the goal of improving that both, individually and as a unit with all the experience you guys return? Because Naquan's really the only defensive lineman you lost.
I think that once we learn to get that chemistry down, especially that, like I said earlier, missed out on spring practices, I think being able to rush together, really buying into Coach Hayes's defense is going to do a lot for us. I think once people get reps, they're going to finally realize that that our chemistry is going to get better and be able to trust one another. So I think that's gonna really push it to the top.
You set any sort of personal goals for the year as far as, coming back for the next year with what you want to accomplish? Obviously, you want to perform better, like you said, then you have a better year than like you said you wanted to have last year. But anything you kind of etched out in stone?
Last year I came in with a lot of individual goals, and this year I just want to overall stay healthy, have a healthy season, and just do whatever I can to help out the team. My main focus. No problem.
Our final question will go back to Stephen Brooks.
Jacob, curious if seeing Mike and his journey through to the NFL as an undrafted guy, and Raekwon as well. I'm pretty sure you were close with him. Not saying that that's the path that you'll take, but just seeing that you can make it from sort of any path to the NFL. Did watching that all happen last year affect your decision at all or play into your thinking to come back for this year?
I've built a lot of relationships with the guys on the team, and ultimately I thought that it'd be a good decision to come back and just stick around and hang out with them and just play another season of football. But watching Mike and Ray, they're both training back home, back where I used to train out in high school. So just watching them train, work out, and just grind and see just them develop into what they are now, and seeing them make it as being undrafted is just, it gives a lot of players in our building a lot of motivation.
Sure, I bet. Okay, thank you, man.
All right, looks like all the questions we have. Jacob, really appreciate you joining us, and we'll see you soon at spring practice.
All right, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right, thanks for everyone joining today. I know it was a longer session. That's probably the interviews that we'll have available for this week. So I'll keep everybody posted if anything changes, but I want to make sure you had time to talk with everybody today. So I'll send out some B-roll from practice, and if anybody needs any photos, just let me know. Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, Ben.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate it.